Hello and welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. I'm your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds, coming with another show, July 11th, 2019, and this is what's on the menu for today. Well, if you should happen to live in Tennessee, there's some things in Tennessee going on about the prison suicides. Going back for several years back, it was maybe 2, 3. Again, each life is a life that's worthy to be honored. But as of 2018 to 19, it has skyrocketed up to 12. Check this story out. Well, you heard of the Louisiana liquor. We done did that story about LENISE Martin III. But I heard a lot of opinions about things. And as on this show, we gave you the ins and outs. Well, let's hear from LENISE Martin III's mouth from his own, and we'll check that story out. Remember I did the story about the brother that was sleeping in the car? Well, his name was Nicholas Bolton. You know how they got these terms for us. Black man sleeping while black, right? End up getting shot and fighting for his life. And let's see how they determine how they said this was justified. Watch for this story. Well, you know, there's people who are taking advantage due to the simple fact that we are black American descendants of slaves. I seen a story with a sister named Mia Henderson, who seemed to be trying to get herself on her feet and her family and paid for rent. Come to find out after she gave the money 30 days later, the city closing it. I've been doing quite a few stories about that. Let's see how that's going to take out. Well, remember I talked about those who are avid watchers of the show. We talk about teeny bitty houses that they were selling on Amazon. Well, I told you about it. Now today I'm going to show you about it. Stay tuned for that story. You know, there's going to be a impact of the new gun laws that are taking place. If you're in this particular state, and you know how it is, it started in one state to go everywhere else. So it's going to be EMTs are going to have guns, doctors going to have guns. But have you heard of ghost guns? Now, if you are avid watcher, subscriber to this show, I did that when that law first broke out. But check this out, because again, there's a lot of guns out here that aren't even registered, and there's ways you can make guns that you probably didn't even know. Check that story out. King Tut. We all know about King Tut in some form or fashion, right? But who gets to own the artifacts? Well, somebody supposedly purchased it, but there's a conflict between who owns it. Check that story out. Imagine if you woke up in your house and somebody in there and saying they the damn devil. How many shots you gonna lick off to get them up out of there? Well, check this story out. We'll have with this family. Beto O'Rourke says that this country was founded on white supremacy. Well, hear his words as he talks about this in a state he was doing some campaigning in. Senator Mitch McConnell says his ancestors owned slaves. Check that out. Last and not least, a white man calls the police on a black man with his child. Went viral. Again, this is the most hated show on the black corner of the internet. I'm your host, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and this channel is to report, articulate, insinuate, incite, inspire. We give honor to the creator because why? The truth don't need no partner. As a descendant of the greatest people, what we call this land, the United States, we, the BADOS, which is Black American Descendants of Slaves. Some may say Black African Descendants of Slaves. Others say American Descendants of Slaves. We give honor to our ancestors. And you know what my motto is? I'm never going to tell you what I heard. I'm only going to tell you what I know. Stay tuned for this broadcast. Hey, how's y'all doing? Again, I'm your host, Mr. Blows Your Mind, and welcome to Black Minds News. Today's date is going to be July the 10th, 2019. And first and foremost, I want to give what's up, fam, to my subscribers out there. What's good, y'all? Another tape show. Working down on that second part of this suspension. They got me on a 90-day suspension. Can't do a live show until then. But first and foremost, I want to say what's good to y'all that's been watching the show. A little slow about hitting the like and dislike and setting comments, but it's all right. Do what you got to do when you're out there. Passerbys, if you should just happen to go down a dead end, go through the road construction, go through under the obstacle, under the garbage can, and happen to drive and fall into this show, welcome. This is the most hated show on the black corner of the internet. And you could go in my library, see some things that you might like. If you should happen to see something that might just offend you a little bit, don't take it personal. That's just what we do over here. We tell the truth. And so, again, you know, this is a grand opening. Go down there, see something you like. Maybe you might stay. If not, hit that like button, subscribe button, share button, and do all the things you got to do. Welcome to the Black Minds News. Now, let's get into this show. As I said in the beginning of the opening, as we're talking about again, we're talking about the state of Tennessee. I seen something over there in Tennessee that brought some attention because, again, you know, as we being black Americans in this nation, incarceration seems like that's one of our second homes. It's not first for many, right? And when we start seeing a pattern of things that people are actually thinking about taking their own life, we have to kind of say, well, what's going on up in there, right? So there was a story that broke by the individual, but in particular the entirety of it, because again, statistically, things have, from one particular time, it has escalated. Again, unbeknownst to the rest of us, again, if we don't hear these type of stories, then we wouldn't have it, known about. We have no. Let's just put it wouldn't be known to us. And so it's kind of like black media has to do its job and due diligence, which is to bring forth so there's some information that you just heard. So let me go ahead and show you first what this is. And then let's come back. I'll come back after that, and then we'll get into it. So check this out. I'll be right back, y'all.
Well, local in Tennessee, suicides have suddenly spiked in prisons across the state.
Last year, there were 12 suicides and 35 suicide attempts in Tennessee prisons. Well, that's up from 2 suicides the year before. A spokesperson for the Tennessee Department of Corrections says there's been an increase of inmates with mental illness. The department says suicidal inmates are placed on suicide watch for additional monitoring, and they're checked every 15 minutes. But a Nashville mom says the warning signs in her son's death were still missed.
They did not recognize his mental illness, and they just basically threw him away. They will not call us back. They will not say anything about his case.
Lorette Underwood says nearly a year later, she still does not know what happened. Her son had bipolar disorder and schizophrenic tendencies. She says that he attempted suicide 4 times, twice while in prison. She's planning to file a wrongful death lawsuit now.
All right. So we see down there up in Tennessee, right, that there's something that's going on over there. Again, who likes to be locked up? Now, if you done did some things you ain't supposed to be doing, then again, they say don't do the crime if you can't do the time. But sometimes you just get caught in a situation due to, again, we are the people who are the descendants of slaves of this nation, and due to the lack thereof things of necessities we need for life, sometimes some people feel like the hustle or the grind, I have to do what I got to do to survive and provide, right? And so that's what happens, right? So again, we don't look down on certain situations. Now, certain things, murders and things like that, that are not warranted, then that's something entirely different. So we have to look at this sister here, Lorette Underwood. She remember her son, Xavier, right? The day that he committed suicide. Now, again, according to what Mrs. Underwood says, that she said that her son had bipolar, he was schizophrenia, or has schizophrenia, right? And so that those are kind of things that was already known to the family and to him. And then as he got incarcerated, he had 4 times tried to commit suicide, right? So again, he was having some issues, some things that he felt like maybe this would be better to just end his life. Now, again, did he commit on his own, or was there just things that were going on for those who've been locked up and, again, surviving in that environment? Because again, it's kind of like an environment that looked like because there's so many of us in there, that we should be using that as a way to really, come together, and for those who get out, so they can bring some change to the communities, and let's straighten this thing out. But we see that this brother Xavier didn't do that, something suspicious according to maybe the mother's thinking. And so just looking at statistically what done happened in this state or in this facility, it talks about that they found him in a cell unresponsive. And that was back on July 20th of 2018. Xavier was an inmate at River Bend Maximum Security Institution. He was convicted of an aggravated robbery back in 2013. Nearly a year after his death, they still hadn't known what happened to him. So again, they was trying to, the family's trying to get some closure, because again, it's one thing to have somebody incarcerated, but then to find out that they lose their life, you would at least like to know if it was something they did. Was there some negligence on the part of the correctional center? And a lot of things can happen once you get locked up, right? So again, like I said, Xavier had tried 4 times, according to what they say, that he had tried to take, and twice at Riverbend. He was 27 years old, and he should have been, according to Mrs. Underwood, that he should have been under the watch of Suicide Watch, because again, he had a history, as they relate, that he had tried to take it 6 times, 2 in one place and 4 in another, right, which is 6 times. So obviously he had some issues going on. But again, when we understand the prison industrial, complex is what they call it, right? Prison for hire, right? Really labor for hire, right? Because again, you become a slave once you become incarcerated. So are they in there about your best welfare, or is it about mass production and getting things done? And then sometimes, who's really built to be in prison? Really, when we think about who's really built to be in prison. And so we see that, again, some closure, right? According to them, say there have been 12 suicides in the state of Louisiana, and 35 suicide attempts stemming all the way back to 2018, according to the Tennessee Department of Correctional Statistics abstract. And they said between 2016 and 2017, there were two suicides and 46 suicide attempts, according to reports. So you have to ask yourself, what's really going on up in this facility that people decide that is either taking their life, or is it just the environment that is producing, and this is what they're going to end up saying at the end to try to, again, pull the cover over situations and try not to show that there's a lot of other, systemicness that's going up in there. So I just want to share some of the stats that he talked about in there, right? Let's see. I think I got a visual for you on here. Well, let's just look at it this way. So let's imagine you got to live like this. And again, there's a lot of our brothers out here and sisters as well who done been in these facilities. And just imagine you living in that kind of environment, people with all kind of different kinds of psychological problems, dealing with all kinds of social ills, and just got, bad temperaments and all kinds of other things. So you just got a mellow cocktail of all different types of people due to all kind of different types of stress. And people are trying to survive. Some people in their lifers, and a whole lot of things. So again, you got it's a bad element, right, to be in life. So if you're not really built for that, and after you start putting some time in there, I'm pretty sure you're trying to think of ways how to escape and so forth. And it's not the best place for a person to be in. And should it befall anybody, again, people will tell you the stories of a lot of things that goes on once people are up in there, right? And so here's the statistics that it was showing. That it says suicides in Tennessee prisons in 2014. You see it says 3 there. 2015, 2016, it says 4. And then went down to 2016, 2017, it went down to 2. And then it went up in 2018 to 12. Now we're in 2019, almost got a couple more, about 5 more months left in this year. And they haven't shown that statistic for that. So again, you have to just kind of wonder, is it just due to the harshness of the environment? Is it just a place that people just get to the point that they are being over exerted? And, and there's a lot of other elements in there. So again, this sister just wants some closure because again, like I said, if you have a family member who's locked up and it comes to the fact to find out that, something tragic happens to them. And again, I guess we're supposed to believe that because of the environment that is part of it, and it is. We're not saying that, but then if it's something that just don't, smell right, sound right, taste right, then you have to question it. And so, according to them, the inmate health information, which includes both medical and mental health information, is confidential. It's provided by the Tennessee Code, annotated 107-504A. While I can't speak on anyone's inmate's mental health history, I can share that across the nation there's been an increase of inmates with mental illness in prisons. In response to the incarcerated need, the Tennessee Department of Corrections has augmented the mental health training for staff. And it goes on to the crisis intervention, training, and correctional behavioral health. Training to better equip officers with techniques needed to handle offenders in the crisis. Now, again, training is one thing. Now, again, that's going to be policy, right? That's what they're going to say. Of course, they got to say that. And then, as you heard in the story, talked about, again, he should have been on what they call suicide watch. And according, if you're on suicide watch, they come every 15 minutes. But again, you know damn well, we ain't in there checking on you like that. It is what it is, and you deal with it the best way you can. Because really, when you think about it, that's what's been happening lately. Due to nobody's ever dealt with black people and our historicalness of how we've been in this land, nobody gives a fuck, right? Really, we think nobody will give a fuck about how we deal with it. We deal with the best way. So we self-medicate, drink, sex. We do all kind of things. Lash out, trying to get ways of help. And so what happens is a lot of people are getting incarcerated. And again, they have mental issues. But again, you can't get diagnosed because, one, you ain't got money. You ain't got insurance. And there's no real funding for it. So again, they just kind of put you in these facilities and you just kind of go along, trying to get along until your illness may put you in the mindset of what we might have seen here with Xavier Underwood. And again, I just wanted to bring some light to it because, again, a lot of us have family. Ain't too many of us that don't have nobody in our family that have not been in prison or are in prison, and we kind of understand that, right? So, again, as Black Minds News, want to bring some attention to it, and hopefully the sister will get some relief in her mind and her family, some closure. So let's move on, right? And so since we're talking about, prison, and I did the story about the, what they want to call Louisiana liquor, right? The brother that followed up with the young little sister that did the ice cream licking. Remember, I did the story the other day and talked about how his name is LENISE Martin III, right? And I've heard some people over the internet say things. Again, of course, we're not trying to condone that a man 36 years old is, doing something, but his situation was different. If you seen yesterday's show, you see that I showed how his situation wasn't like that. Even though he reenact the situation, but it was not entirely the same. And so I want you to hear in his own words what he said, and then just kind of look at it, because again, I kind of said it probably before hearing him saying it. And so now today or last night, he said some things, and so I got that for it. So let me go ahead and show this and be right back. Check this out. Be right back.
Time in jail for his viral video showing him licking ice cream and putting it back inside a grocery store's freezer.
LENISE Martin III sat down with Fox 44's Crystal Whitman, and he says despite his arrest, he's still screaming for his Bluebell ice cream.
Hey guys, good afternoon. Well, Martin says he shouldn't have been arrested in Assumption Parish based solely off the public's assumptions. Now, LENISE Martin III says video of himself licking the top of the Bluebell ice cream tub, moving his finger around the top and licking it again was not what it appeared to be. Now, after being released from jail in Assumption Parish, he told us that he bought ice cream from Big B's supermarket and recorded the video, which was just a prank. Martin says his actions shouldn't have landed him behind bars with murderers and real criminals.
I didn't even see how they could put that together. It's saying I took it out there, licked it, and put it back. And none of that happened on the video. You never saw me take it out there, or you never saw me put it back. You know what I'm saying? When the video came on, it was in my hand. When the video went off, I was leaning to put it back, but you never saw me actually put it back.
Now, according to employees of Big B's, Martin's actions did cause them to destroy 48 half tubs of the ice cream for the safety of the public. And they did say he was a loyal customer who visited the store almost daily. And we've reached out to the local media relations department for Bluebell, and they say no one was available to respond to our request. For Fox 44 News, I'm Crystal Whitman.
All right, so see Lenise Martin III, and again, you heard from his own words. So there again, a lot of people speculating. Again, a lot of people seem to have an issue with it. And again, when you originally see that, you're going to have an issue because you'll say, wait a minute, bro, you too old to be, doing something like that. But again, making a judgment based on not knowing the entirety, is being prejudiced, right? You're prejudging the situation. And so if you hear the brother's situation and they showed you some evidence to prove, so what was it that really he was arrested about? Yes, he posted it, but again, it wasn't the same scenario as the original to say he copycat, but he made it appear as he was doing it, but it had a whole nother spin to it. So let's look at that a little bit, right? Let's look at that a little bit, because again, it's just one of those things, right? So let me give you the visuals of that, right? So you see the brother there, right? You seen the brother right there. That's Lenise Martin III, right? Allegedly licking ice cream and putting it back. That's what they allegedly, right? You seen what he had on the video, right? He did do what they say. He did lick the ice cream, put his finger in it. And the way he did a subjective without fulfilling the entirety, and it left an assumption in a lot of people's minds. Right? And based on what you've seen with the little shorty and then the whole thing about giving her 20 years, which is outlandish, when we see some people who can shoot one of our people up and can't get really no time, but somebody who licking ice cream talking about 20 years. Again, you go figure, right? You figure that shit out, right? So anyway, the brother did what he did, right? Again, a lot of people, had the assumption about a lot of people were, they say grossed out and just felt like that, again, he was too old to be doing that. Now, again, a lot of people got social media out here, right? A lot of people got social media. And so what you do on social media to try to get your page popping and clicking, you try to find some of the most outlandish things, and you try to, promote your channel so that it can get the kind of traffic. Now, again, if your channel is based on you trying to make a living on it, then you're going to always try to put things out there. And so what we see is that they took what they seen on the video, pretty much exploited him, right? And made it seem as if he did exactly as she did. But as you see in this report here, he actually shows you he had the receipt that he purchased it. Now I underlined it to show you that he did have purchased. There's the date on there, right? There's the amount he paid for. It was $5.50. You see it on there, the Bluebell, the ice cream. He paid for that, right? It was like he just reenacted, but he had purchased it. So it was his own. It wasn't like he, didn't purchase it, took it and put it back. He just played the gag along. Again, maybe you too old to be playing that kind of prank because, again, the seriousness, how people looking at it. Because, look, white folks done lost their damn mind fucking with their ice cream. You know what I'm saying? It done made them lost their damn mind, right? That they talking about, putting them motherfucking in jail for 20 years. Really, when you think about it, right? And so to also show you that, the legitimacy of it is that here's the store. The store also said that, it's talking about to the value of their customers. And then you see on the line that I got there, it says that the purchase that he purchased that gallon of ice cream. He purchased it, right? So was it more of a rush to arrest for the simple fact, eating ice cream by being black? Yeah, he reenacted the situation, but again, as he said, was he supposed to be locked up? And again, he made it sound like, well, they put him in prison the way he made it sound, right? He was locked up with the criminals, and you know what I'm saying? But the point is, you did something that, again, most people would look at the fact that maybe you were just too old and you should know a little bit better. And I think that's really what they're trying to penalize you for. And so really, when you look at the whole situation and say, what is he really locked up for? Really, what is he locked up for? Right? What is he really locked up for? Or what did he get locked up for? It was really more of a rush to trying to, quell this copycat, because I've seen people out here opening Listerine, gargling it, spitting it back. I mean, you got a non-original type of society these days. There ain't too many original motherfuckers out here anymore, right? Mr. Blowy Minds consider this to be original, because when you go on the Black Corner internet, ain't nobody's show gonna be like mine. Again, I'm just being me, right? And so you have to say, they have to come up with something, because again, as you heard, the reporter that was doing the story said that they tried to contact Bluebell and they didn't get no response back, because again, Bluebell ain't the one that did that. It was the Louisiana Police Department that decided that they was gonna go in and they're gonna arrest this man once they found out. And so I think now that, did you hear in that part of the story, they said that they're gonna destroy 48 and a half tubs of their ice cream. Think about that. So now this is where they're going to actually hold him responsible because of them destroying the 48 tubs of ice cream. So let's just say we do the math, $5.50 times, 48 tubs and a half, you get about $2,667.50, and that's not including taxes, right? So, it's not petty theft anymore, right? You know what I'm saying? They got it over enough so it can't be petty, so it's enough just to get you in, and then maybe this is going to be what you want to do, restitution for that. Even though they may have rushed to judgment, and again, just on the visual on itself made people just kind of like, damn, come on, bruh. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like what we seen the other day with the Walt Disney situation when the family was out there and got into it, right? It didn't look good for us, right? So the same thing here with this brother. It didn't look good. But again, it was just one of those things. And again, they just took, because again, somehow white folks done lost their damn mind about you looking at goddamn ice cream. So again, LENISE Martin III, again, they're going to be some more because we got to see what is they going to drop the case, or they're going to go ahead and make him pay for the 48 tubs. It's about the only thing they really can hold him for, saying criminal mischief and then posting to your social media to get public notoriety. I mean, shit, that's what everybody pretty much doing on these YouTube and this Facebook and Instagram. That's what everybody doing. So that's just letting you know that a lot of this shit is being monitored and watched by police officers trying to, figure out ways to criminalize, you for doing some shit that you think that you just having some fun with. But again, being black, you can't do what white folks do, right? That's the first thing. Can't do what white folks do. Just because that one did it didn't make it right, because you hear the motherfucker through 20 years of the motherfucker. So right there, you should have been like, I ain't trying to touch that shit. Fuck it, ain't worth it. But anyway, that is what it is, and that's that brother there, LENISE Martin III, right? You know what I'm saying? He 3 lines of that, right? He 3 lines to that. So let's move on, right? So again, I'm gonna keep on the theme here. Again, we got police, right? Again, do we hate police? We don't hate police. Police is needed. Again, as I always say on this show, but we just don't like when certain situations are just not merited. And so I did this story here. And originally it didn't have any name. It was just the incident. They didn't give any details to who it is. So we end up finding out now that the brother name is Nicholas Bolton. And those who've seen the show, seen what had took place, and you'll get to see a little bit of the reenactment as I show this one. But again, you got to ask yourself, again, this rush to judgment, right? Like, again, we showed the other day where the Hispanic dude had the knife, and it seemed like they could do almost 2 miles walking backwards and somehow pleading and begging, we don't want to shoot you, right? They lackadaisical about trying to, but when it comes, they got this black melanin skin on it, it seemed like, there's no holds barred. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no extent that a motherfucker won't go out to get the job done. So let me show you this, and we should be right back. Check this out. Hold on, and be right back.
A Metro Atlanta man now clinging to life, his brother says, after being shot by a deputy on Sunday. The shooting caught on camera. The Coweta County Sheriff's Office called the deputy's actions justified, but 34-year-old Nicholas Bolton's family, they disagree. Joe Hankey is in the newsroom with a look at an exclusive interview with the family.
Jeff, before the Coweta County deputy fired one time at Nicholas Bolton, body cameras captured deputies questioning him for loitering. His family says Bolton fell on hard times, is homeless, and was sleeping when deputies confronted him. The family and their attorney is calling for the deputy to now be fired. Before sunrise Sunday, Coweta County Sheriff's deputies walked up to Nicholas Bolton's SUV. GBI investigators say he appeared to be asleep in a Noonan shopping center parking lot.
Is this business open? Do you have a reason to be here? Then you're loitering. Do you live right here? Then you're loitering.
Bolton's brother and father talked with NBC News.
As a family, we're just praying about our brother Nick, and we're just trying to be focused on him right now and his health.
Deputies asked Bolton to step out of the vehicle and to show his ID. He instead moves from the back seat to the driver's seat.
You drive off in this car. You turn the car off. Turn the car off. Turn the car off.
And then drives off.
My son, he was asleep in the car and he wasn't bothering anybody. He was minding his own business, being afraid. He didn't know what was going on.
Deputy John Collins brings a short chase to an end. 3 cars pinned Bolton in, and the GBI reports he kept spinning his tires. Here's Bolton family attorney Tanya Miller.
He can't even follow the command of the officer before this cop basically fires a kill shot into that windshield.
Body cameras show a deputy yells,
"Turn off the car!"
Right after Collins shoots, hitting Bolton in the head.
He was actively spinning tires, ramming my car. John was probably right there where Thompson's standing. Okay. And so I thought John was about to get run over, and I put 1 round on him.
Deputies are heard saying Bolton was unarmed.
Was there a weapon? No, he was trying to ram us with his car.
He should be terminated, and he should be prosecuted for what we believe is an unjustified and unconstitutional use of deadly force.
As the GBI investigates, the Coweta County Sheriff's Office is calling the shooting necessary and justified.
They've done that before they've had the benefit of the GBI's investigation, so they are already declaring this a good shoot.
And Bolton's family is praying for a miracle.
He's clinging to his life. The doctors and the nurses are giving him the best care.
The Coweta County Sheriff's Office tells us Deputy Collins has been with the office for 16 months. He is on leave as the GBI investigates the shooting. Cheryl.
All right. So we're seeing Coweta County, Georgia. You've seen with a body camera, again, the video you just seen. It shows the leading up to the moment of the shooting. Again, when they said, when they originally showed it, they showed him, he was parked in, it seemed like a mall parking lot. And I guess the parking lot had, the mall was closed, right? And so, again, if you ever been in that situation and you have to live in your car, you try to find some place that would be, some place of safety, some place that you could, again, maybe he was there, maybe he picked it. But again, being in a big parking lot like that, the police, again, their whole job is to serve and protect the businesses. So maybe he fell asleep and, again, got caught up there like that, right? And so Nicholas Bolton was 34 years old. Again, they say he fell asleep in his car. And then we see that he was at they said Newman Crossing Shopping Center. That was the name of the place that he went to, right? And so, again, as the officer sat there and asked him those questions, right? And let me show you what he said, right? I got the images of some of that stuff that he said, right? So let's look at that, right? So, he comes to the car. Again, if you go back and you look, you see that you can see the flashlight, see, and you can see his head there. He was kind of, or maybe his leg, it could be his head. He's laid out in the back of his car, right? He laid out, stretched out, right? Trying to catch him some Z's, okay? He's trying to survive, right? And so you see what says Coweta County, the deputy, is this business open? Asking him, is this business open? Do you have a reason to be here? Then you're loitering, right? Do you live right here? Then you're loitering, right? So let's look at that, loitering, right? Let's look at that. So loitering, just put it like this, loitering. When you say somebody's loitering, basically you're just saying they're lingering indolently, right? Introduced by vagrants from the Low Countries. Now check that out. Vagrant is a word they use, right? Vagrant. Now, you know, there used to be laws, as I talked about in previous shows, the history of a lot of the people who they supposedly brought to the United States. A lot of them fell under vagrancy law, had no employment, no place to live, right? Wanderers and things like that. And it was a crime. Now, we're talking about going back in the 15th, 16th century. Here we is now in the 20th century, right? 21st century, right? And still vagrancy is still on the books, live and prevalent. Now, it used to be if you didn't have a $2 in your pocket, no ID, and they caught you, you're gonna get the fat bologna sandwich tonight, right? But why would you want to do that to somebody who already ain't got nothing? Just like we seen the other day that in Texas, in Austin, Texas, they decided that they're going to take that off the books and allow homeless people to be able to camp as long as they don't camp in front of the city hall and things of that. And if they're not being aggressive when they consider themselves panhandling, then they say, okay, now, well, you know, we're going to take it. Because again, how are they going to pay it? All the money they need or they got the daily necessities. So why would you put more burden on somebody who already getting shitted on, right? That don't even make sense, right? So it talks about vagrancy, right? And so when you look at vagrant, right? When you look at vagrancy, for those who might know or don't know, vagrant is like wandering from place to place, maintaining himself by begging. Now, again, to say loitering, one has to be actually out there, in that case, under the term definition. And we're going to look at law, what loitering is, right? So somebody begging, wandering from place to place, this man is in his vehicle, right? He's in a vehicle, so is his place not expired? You understand? Is there another way that this situation could have been dealt with? Because again, just like the brother that was in California that fell asleep at the Taco Bell, yet they called for a so-called well-being check. And then here you as police officers come and shining your light on somebody who's dead asleep. Again, maybe they was high, drunk, or just tired. And just imagine you come out your sleep and when you open your eyes, it's all blur light. You can't see. So you're not afraid or scared? Like you don't know what's going on? Maybe somebody trying to rob you? Because again, you in the conscious of what you in. If you ain't doing shit, then how you gonna be, not trying to protect yourself because you thinking you finna be ambushed. So because bruh jump, move, and then they say he going for his gun, but again, I showed in the video, he's reaching down, but they said his gun was in his lap, but when you look at the video, he's reaching down, and yet they firing bullets at him. Kill the brother, right? And so here's the same situation here. Again, a lot of us are knowing these stories. So when this situation come and they seeing police, could one thing had been said, okay, instead of you just sitting there talking about you're loitering, couldn't he have just said, hey, buddy, I see you sleeping here. This place of business is closed. You need to go ahead and move from here, right? Seeing ID and all that, again, because see, when they know when it's us, possibility brother having some kind of warrant or something like that, it's rolling the dice. I may get lucky and get me a couple of arrests tonight. All I got to do is catch a couple brothers, something they may not be doing. I may stop with some bullshit. Remember the old pull you over because of the damn air freshener in the goddamn window? Right? Remember that shit? Pull your ass over. Again, then find a stumble across some other shit. But then what did you originally get me over? Now you got some other shit. So, it's all leading one thing to another to get you in a situation, right? So let's look at some of the other stuff he has said, right? So we see that, right? Let's look at this. Let me show you something else. So the brother decide, again, he recognized who it is. He ain't trying to get in no confrontation. I don't know why people don't understand that due to, again, the preponderance of videos and situations we've been hearing all across this country, black men are trying to, again, they say flee, fornicate, fight or flight, right? If you ain't trying to fight a motherfucker, you trying to flee from a motherfucker, right? These are just the natural instincts that people have. Now, again, I understand administration, police, municipalities, laws. I get that. But again, put yourself in somebody's situation that they dead sleep and wake up. Now, again, he don't know what's going on. He don't know who he is. And again, his best instinct that he thought, let's put it this way, what he thought about when he seen you, did it not come to fruition. Some people, white folks gonna say, well, he shouldn't have fled from the cops. But you ain't walking in our shoes. You don't deal what we deal with, even when we not doing shit. You understand? So his first thing is to get the fuck away. It may not have been the best thing to do, as we see it didn't. But again, as we seen the brother in the story just before was being locked up and they doing suicide. Nobody wanted to be fucking locked up. Again, you got a lot of our people locked up. Now, some of them are warranted to be in there. But there's a lot of brothers in there, little penny ass bullshit, just accumulate some time and they got some time. Ain't nobody trying to give you that motherfucking time. So he takes off, right? So they go ahead and do the old maneuver, hit the bag, pull him over, boom, right? And so, you know, let me do that one first. Let me do that one because that's what he said. But let me show you before I show you that. So you're seeing that, but I'm not going to explain that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that, remember, after, you know, the guy had cornered him off, right? You seeing that shot right there, right? You seeing that is the shot he did. He only shot the brother one time through the windshield in his head. Now, look at that look at that clip you see there. You see a car on the left side, the right side, and the dude that's shooting is in the front. And I think there's nobody in behind him. So they had him cornered off, right? Now, do you see anybody in between there? Look at the visual for yourself, right? You see nothing but his arm and him shooting straight. You see nobody there. You see a car to the right, car on the left, and him in the front. Now, this is what he said, right? When he explained to whoever it was that came on the scene, they had to, relay the message. This is what he said. The deputy said John was probably right there where Thompson is standing. Now, again, because of this being in the way, but if you see if you kind of look through there, you can see there's by the driver's door. Wasn't nobody by the driver's door. And matter of fact, the car was facing where he was shooting from, correct? Right? And so the deputy said, I thought John was about to get run over and I put one round in him. No one was in front of him but you. Yes, he was spinning the wheel, but I don't think he was going towards him. I think he was trying to go in reverse, right? Again, it's not justifying what he did because, again, for your own safety, if you fleeing unless you try not to go back, then that's the choice you got to take or the chance you taking. But I'm just saying he didn't do that. So this officer said what he said. But again, based on what we see and what he said, is they matching up, right? And so that's why the family is saying, hey, you know what I'm saying? We don't think this was justified in no form or fashion, right? And so, again, he takes off. And they were just trying to, according to them, you see that they chased him. They did the maneuver on him. And then within a seconds, John Collins fired a shot through Bolton's windshield, hitting him in the head, right? And again, accordingly, they supposedly had tried to, resuscitate him and keep him stable until the firefighters arrived. And the officer Collins saw what he believed to be Bolton actively trying to drive his vehicle in the direction of a deputy. Now, again, he says that, but what you see on the screen he said that he thought he was trying to hit his partner, not coming at him. Now, clearly, Nicholas was boxed in with no place to go. Rather than take him into custody, shooting to kill him was apparently easier. And they said this is the Olympic excuse that was trying to hurt them. That was the attorney that you seen in the video, Tanya Miller. And so the video speaks for itself. And she right. The video speaks for itself. And this dude was only on the job 16 months. Right? That's only about a year and 4 months, right? You ain't been on the job long enough. And yet you can make that kind of judgment and you see your judgment is off. He had no weapon other than the vehicle. And a lot of people say, well, you can use your vehicle to get, but he couldn't go nowhere. Right? Sometimes I understand it's a stressful job and you trying to get back home. But obviously this dude was just asleep, man. And that should have let you know right away, due to what's going on in this country and the homelessness, A lot of people out here with not nothing, man, and they just trying to survive. And you out here more than those who just out on the streets. You out there as a job, and you know this. So why aren't you a little bit more sympathetic to the situation? Just like, hey, man, you loitering, right? And so by you loitering, you know, this ain't a place, it's a place of business, and they don't want you here. So go ahead and move on. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go ahead and put the law on you, right? So let's look at some other words that deal with this loitering, right? Just in fact, just to give you a little bit more on that, right? When you're talking about loitering, right? So if I was thinking about that, I just think about words like linger, to tarry, stay, wait, remain, hang around, stick around, continue, persist, stay on, endure, abide, preserve, hang on, right? Lounge, whatever I could think of, let's say, take one's time, you know, mill around, kill time. So just loitering doesn't really seem to be like really breaking the damn law. Just you just hanging around. Again, remember they got laws for 2, 3, 4 brothers. What they call that, brothers? Mob action, right? They call that mob action. 2, 3 brothers getting together there. That's mob action. We need to go break that up because y'all might be plotting on doing some shit. So again, hopefully, man, that this brother, again, being shot in the head again, you know, sometimes it could be Graves' wound, and they say shot in the head, but if he's shot in the head, you know, he's going to have a long recovery, and all to the simple fact that, again, all he was doing is trying to, you know, find him some place of rest, of comfort, because he was homeless, right? And so, you know, we just think that, man, come on, man. Put yourself in some other people's shoes, and it seems like other people seem to not be able to do that because, again, the difference between you being white in your life and privilege and things versus us and we the descendants of slaves in this land. And again, this is why the things that's on the political, you know, agenda is talking about reparations. You know what I'm saying? People who've been deprived for all this periods of time, who don't got nothing and struggling and maintain and have been, you know, pretty much put out of the system, and then it's up to your discretion whether they're going to have something or not. I mean, come on, man. There's got to be somewhere, again, in the word humanity is humane, and it seems like the people who think they more humanly or humanly seem to have lack thereof. And then you can't really, you know, be in the environment of other people and be sympathetic because you lack thereof the understanding. So we'll see as this story goes on. Again, the lawyer already said they're already setting it up to say they're already justifying it, right? Without even going through the whole formality of even trying to figure it out. They'll say, well, it was warranted because he was using. See? But again, you'll make the square peg fit in the round hole for any situation that deems you right. But it ain't right. So let's move on. All right, so let me see what I got here, right? Let me see this here, right? So we again, like, you know, we have to look at the fact that, you know, people, and again, as being the BADOS, Black American Descendant of Slave, ADOS for those, American Descendant of Slave, you know, our plight in this country and historically and what we've gone through. A lot of people, again, looking from the outside like window shopping. They outside looking through the window and looking at the mannequin and seeing how it's dressed up and saying, oh, it would look good on me. But we the fucking mannequins. We wear the shit. It's entirely different from you on the outside and that's who wearing this shit, right? And so these are the things that we had to go through on the daily. Let me show you something here, another story that broke out. And let's see, you know, again, due to the simple fact of our history here and us trying to maintain and survive, sometimes we have to take what we can afford, right? And because of us have to go to other people we don't own, or a lot of people don't own in the communities we live in. And so other people have to ration out what they think is acceptable for us. And it's fucked up when it comes to be one of our own people doing this shit. So check this story out and I'll be right back. Check this out.
Now to an NBC 15 reality check tonight. More complaints are rolling in about a dilapidated quadplex on Washington Avenue. A renter says she paid rent to live there after the city deemed the building unsafe.
NBC 15 has been investigating what the city says are deplorable conditions. Our investigation launched the city to take action, ticketing the landlord and property owner.
NBC 15's Rachel Wilkerson joins us now. Rachel, this renter says she had no idea the building was ordered vacated.
Kim and Greg, she says she trusted that was a safe place to go. After finding out it wasn't, she just wants a refund.
At this point, I'm homeless because of this man. I don't have a stable place to live.
Maya Henderson is struggling to get her money back. This receipt shows Henderson paid landlord James Rudolph $500 for apartment C at 855 South Washington Avenue. The cash was supposed to cover the unit from June 1st to July 1st.
I call myself doing everything right. You know, my mom's frustrated with me, but I call myself trying to help myself. And it's like this guy just giving me the run around about giving my money back, about me staying in the house.
The problem, the check was issued May 31st, just 2 days after the city had tenants pack up their bags and move out of this building, deeming the apartment unsafe.
It was horrible. The door was unsafe. It's not an entrance door. You can walk off the street into the apartment. The toilet was full of He had a refrigerator in there that had bugs in it. It just was raggedy.
Henderson's mother says she couldn't believe her eyes when she saw the apartment and would not let her daughter stay there. She says her daughter has mental problems and sickle cell anemia and wasn't fully aware of what she agreed to.
It's not fair, you know, and he shouldn't. I don't know how he sleep at night.
They had no idea Rudolph and the property owner were slapped with dozens of tickets for not having this building up to code until she says she saw other victims' stories on NBC 15 News. Now they are fighting to get their money back.
He said he was trying to do her a favor. I said, how? You know, I said, how are you doing her a favor? I said, you're already in limbo concerning this house, but he agreed faithfully that he was going to repair the house.
Rudolph says Henderson has not removed all of her items from the unit and will pay her part of the money once that happens. Henderson says she filed a police report claiming her electronics were moved out without her permission. We've requested that report. Greg?
All right, so we see the sister there, Maya Henderson, decided that she was trying to get herself on her feet with her family, trying to provide herself a place to rent. And did everything as she said. I did everything properly. To get in there and I see what kind of dwelling and place it is, right? You know. So again, that's what I said. People can take advantage of us due to the simple fact of the conditions we in. We've really been made to be consumers of this nation, right? We don't really own. Again, they just showed. I think last week they were showing the Forbes top 10 billionaires, or there's about 13 black millionaires. The only ones that were black American was Jordan. I take that back. It was Jordan, Oprah, and the brother that did the money that gave to the HBCU that paid the so-called set up the funds for them to get the pay their student loan, right? So about 3 of them. But when you think of, he's like some kind of tech, investor, something like that, and Oprah, her show, and Jordan, due to the simple fact that, again, culture, everybody pretty much wearing Jordans, right? So, again, after Phil Knight, you got to keep Jordan and had to bring him in and give him some of that money. So how can you not having $2 billion now? Okay. But look at all the other money that he not. And so if they on the list, how come I ain't seeing Phil Knight and them on there? You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that Forbes magazine show everybody who got money, especially white folks, because they told you that old money versus new money, that old money way longer than this new money, right? But they just got to make it seem that everybody got some money. But the fact is that we don't be having people that really invest in communities and buy up the property and then make it where black people would be affordable for us to live in. Seems like that's the worst thing that a nigga could do is try to help his people, right? You know, like in my intro, where they talk about them, what Don King said, right? And so people will invest in other places, like Oprah got stuff in South Africa and things like that. People got all kinds, but when it comes to just giving back to our people and trying to have them. No, it's like, no, you are designated to be consumers, or you're designated to be the outcast so that we can make these facilities and businesses that's supposed to help you that will get profits and money just because they're there to help you, but they really ain't there to help you at all, right? And so this is the kind of shit we living through. And so then when somebody who can get some kind of dilapidated ass property, figure you got a grandiose idea, well, let me go ahead and set this nigga here. You ain't got no other choice. You ain't got nowhere else better to live, so you might as well take this. And then you seen how that was. First of all, let me show this brother how he look, right? Yeah, this ain't putting nobody on Front Street. Just it is what it is, right? Again, it is what it is. Now, again, I don't know what. Again, this is who they showed, right? So let me show you, right? Let me show it, right? Let me show you, right? So that's who they showed in the video, right? Now, whether he the owner of it, he the property manager of it, but that's what they did. You know, you see him right there. Now, again, you know, he don't have money. We don't have money. That's the hard thing. Again, that's why they talk about reparation. That's why reparation is on the table. Black folks think I can get a home, but then it's still trying to maintain to be able to, you want to be able to pay for all your shit when you need it, not little drips and drabs and trying to keep your shit. Then that way your house is just constantly falling down. So here's property you got that you renting to people. And again, I don't want to do it. I know that don't do it, Mr. Bloody Mind. Don't do it. I got to show it. You know I got to show that, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? I got to show it. You know that shit wasn't right. You seen that shit, right? You seen it. The fuck? Huh? Huh? This the kind of shit, you know, you got that kind of shit up in there, and woman got kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, hold on, let me go ahead and try to do something, because again, they got some, you know, infestation, they got some rodents and shit up in here, I got rats in this motherfucker, so let me disclose all this first, that way when you come back to it, you can't say I didn't tell you. But they put that motherfucker right there so everybody can see this shit. And it's like, what the fuck? Now, if you got one motherfucker in there, you understand? You got 2, 5, and you know the motherfuckers have babies, right? So again, it's fucked up. It's fucked up, right? But that's the kind of shit we got to be living in. And then everybody want to look at us like, oh, shit, I can't understand how you guys are the way. Shit, look how we living. Look how we living. But nobody want to be accountable for the way, because they say, well, that was over 150, you know, we're going on 400 years according to y'all count. It's even longer than that shit. But this is their count, 1619, again, from the ones who stole it, from the ones who originally had it. That's what the real deal is. Most people ain't figured that shit out. But from 1619 going on to 2019, going to be 400 years. And look, I can show you in 2019 a house and people living in dilapidated like that, and you say the cause and effects of history has nothing to do with this. To each his own, right? So hopefully that this sister, Maya Henderson, gets some money back. But again, you know, I think this is Mobile, Alabama, right? But that's just how it goes, right? Those are the conditions, and those are the places we have to choose from, because again, that's how it is. So what can you do about it? But I got something, again, I don't know if this is going to be a remedy. I can't say this is a remedy, but again, there's some information out there for those who might be interested in it. But I'm just saying, check this shit out. You know, you pretty much go on to Amazon to buy everything, right? You know, think about it. You go to Amazon, you're pretty much buying every motherfucking thing up in Amazon, right? Well, what if I tell you could take your ass and then go buy your house? You're like, what would you say, Mr. Black? You could buy a damn house in Amazon. You didn't know that? Check this. I'll be right back, y'all.
Amazon sells just about everything, so why not sell houses? The online retailer is selling tiny homes now for a few $1,000s and some elbow grease. Yes, you do have to build it yourself. You can have your own home sweet tiny home. Prices range between $5,000 up to $50,000. Some listings even boast a short 2 or 3 day build time.
Ain't that something? See, they already running up in there, huh? They ain't told you nothing, huh? Now, again, I don't know if anybody want to get that little clubhouse, but again, it's better than having sleeping in your car. But again, don't you got to still put that mug? It's kind of like a trailer house too, right? It ain't got no wheels again, but you're going to still have to rent the ground, right? So you can buy the house, but you still got to have somewhere to put it, right? So I don't know, again, Amazon said like it's going to be the go-to everything. It's kind of, going to beat Walmart at its game, right? It's going to do things that Walmart can't even do. It's going to sell houses in this motherfucker, right? So, hey, I got a house for $1,000 to $5,000. Anybody want to buy it? You're going to have to assemble it, but we're going to sell it to you. Now, again, the issue is where you going to put it at, right? Depending on where you live. Again, if you're in the South, you might got some land. If you were in the city, I don't know where the hell you're going to put it at, right? You're still going to have to get some land somewhere. But again, that's some information for you out there, for somebody who didn't know about that. Amazon is selling houses. Tell me, write me and tell me when y'all somebody get that shit. Let me know. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Fucking 3 little pigs and shit. I'll huff and puff and blow your shit down. Anyway, so I got this story for you here. Let me see what I got. Where'd it go? Let's see. Okay, I think it went here, right? I think that's it right there. Here we go. So, right? So, again, July came and is here now. We're in the 10th day of July. And a lot of laws have been now implemented, right? Due to the simple fact, the change of law from last year, they started to come in. So, about this gun, right? This here, I want to show it because, again, there's something we got to see about this, right? There's something we need to see. Because I got 2 parts of this. There's 2 parts I got to show to this. Because, again, due to just so much going on in this land, people are being divisive because, black Americans are talking about trying to get reparated, saying it's divisive and making people angry. A lot of people feel the restrictions of gun laws and all this stuff. And again, I did ammo getting the other day. Really, now those who didn't get their bullets before July 1st, I don't know if it was just in that state of Kentucky, but if it ain't got it to, I think it might be across the board. But you find out in your own state that now you have to register now when you go get bullets, right? You're gonna have to register. So that means every time you buy a bullet, you know exactly how many bullets you got and so forth and another thing. But look at this here. I'm gonna give you this. And then I'm going to give you something behind that because, again, there's 2 stories and I want to intertwine them both. Check this out and she'll be right back. Check this out.
Well, some states have new gun laws that took effect this week. They involved arming paramedics and banning the production of 3D guns at home. Fox's Eben Brown has more.
The start of July has a lot of Americans hitting the beach or heading out on vacation, but it's also brought about some key changes for Second Amendment-minded Americans. In Florida, the governor signs a law allowing doctors and EMTs to carry firearms when responding to dangerous, high-risk scenarios like a school shooting or a terrorist attack. On the other side of the country, Washington state enacts voter-approved laws that, among other things, ban so-called ghost guns, meaning firearms built at home using parts made with 3D printers. They don't have serial numbers, so they're very difficult for law enforcement to trace. But Washington state's new laws also require new levels of lengthy background checks, including mental health checks for semi-automatic rifle purchases, and penalizes gun owners if they don't secure their guns inside their homes. It led to a gun-buying frenzy across Washington as the month of June came to a close, with folks hoping to avoid being subject to the new rules.
I think it's stupid. I mean, we're making new laws when we're not enforcing the current laws.
If you haven't been paying attention to the gun law debates in your state, your laws might have changed, and ignorance is never an excuse. So if you have questions, contact police or consult a good attorney. And those are your bullet points. I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Well, ghost guns, it's a popular trend in the gun industry and now raising some big concerns about your safety out there.
Untraceable gun kits sold right here in Tampa Bay. And I-Team investigator Jared Holbrook found you don't need a background check or a license to make or sell one.
They can do it in the confines of their garage or their home, and nobody will know.
last July on the streets of Baltimore.
We just heard gunshots in the back of our alley.
Dayton Harper shoots at police officers with this assault rifle.
And how many shots did you hear? Maybe 4 or 5.
Officers fired back and killed Harper. In California 3 years earlier, John Zawahiri uses this assault rifle on a shooting spree. Police say he killed his father and brother at home, then fired dozens of shots at Santa Monica College, killing 3. What do both of these guns have in common? They had no serial numbers, no scratches. They were homemade and are untraceable. A shock to Baltimore's police commissioner.
You know, I was on the scene and we're looking at it and we're all wondering what to call it and what do you think it is and how would you describe it? That was a big part of the conversation.
Law enforcement call them ghost guns or 80% guns, and they're becoming more popular.
Our biggest concern is we can't trace the guns.
Assistant Special Agent in charge of ATF's Tampa office, Dave Brown, says these homemade guns are becoming a huge problem for law enforcement.
The public needs to know that we are seeing these guns, unfortunately, in the criminal element.
The I-Team found 80% gun parts are easy to find on the internet. They don't require a background check, and they're completely legal.
Because an 80%er, there's no difference between this and a paperweight.
Mark Serbu with Serbu Firearms in Tampa explains the only part of an assault rifle required to have a registered serial number is the lower receiver. But an 80% lower receiver isn't fully developed. Therefore, by law, it's not considered a firearm.
And what needs to be done is this pocket needs to be machined out, as you can see, and then the holes need to be drilled. The safety hole, the hammer hole, and the trigger hole.
We found there are at least 6 manufacturers making 80% lower receivers in Central Florida. They're sold in some local stores. You can even buy them online. The seller doesn't need a dealer's license because by law, they are not considered guns. We even found a template you can buy to make it easier to finish drilling out the holes needed to complete your kit. Video tutorials are all over YouTube.
Proceed by drilling the first 3 holes.
Yeah, there's a pretty big market for it.
Mark says he can make 80% lowers but doesn't sell them. He is in the process of getting government clearance to sell a homemade pistol kit.
So we're going to be putting a kit out, and we need to talk to ATF and send them something to say, hey, is this do you consider this kit to be a gun or not a gun?
Law enforcement we spoke with say these untraceable gun parts appear to be a loophole in the law and fear it makes it easier for people who fail criminal background checks to build one.
And that concerns us. We don't see that often in Baltimore, but the fact that we saw one concerns us greatly.
Tampa Bay law enforcement agencies tell us they haven't seen anything like this on our streets. However, ATF Special Agent Dave Brown says he personally seized a fully automatic homemade gun. California passed a law requiring all homemade guns be registered regardless of what federal law states. I'm investigator Jared Holbrook, taking action for you.
All right, there's some information for you right there. By those who know, don't know, now you know, right? So they said that they're going to start having the doctors and EMTs, and they had been talking about teachers having guns. They still haven't wanted to say that yet, but again, you know, if you're going to have doctors who come in a situation that's supposed to be a school situation with a shooter and the EMT can have it, why wouldn't the teacher not have one? You understand? So they didn't want to say that, but I'm pretty sure better look in your state to find out which ones have that, right? And so again, like I said, the laws have changed as of July. You have to find out again if you want to be a person who is knowledgeable, because again, as they say, ignorance is no excuse of the law to know about having guns and how you do all that stuff, right? So, but then did you see about the ghost guns, right? The ghost gun. Now, those who are been on my show for some period of time, when that first broke out, I did a live show and presented that, and they stopped my show that night, right? If those who remember that, I had showed that, right? You could buy the 3D printers that became legal. And again, as they were talking about in this video, or this news clip, they were showing that there's a restriction and then there's a loophole, right? So if you're making a whole gun that has a, what they call the lower receiver, and if greater than 80%, it would be considered, illegal. But if it's under 80% and it's a lower receiver, it's considered, it's not legal. It's legal, right? So it's a little loophole. And so when they talk about these untraceable guns, you don't have to have no license to make or own them. And the first thing they did is they showed their brother, didn't they? Dayton Harper, right? He's shooting at police, and then they would show the gun, and then they showed the white cat after that. But they had to put that face first, right? Because again, the question becomes, now that you know, again, here on this show, again, this is the most hated show on the black corner of the internet. The question becomes, how many of these guns or untraceable guns are already out here? You understand? How many guns? I did a story not too long ago about in California where they found this dude that had maybe 3,000-4,000 guns they extract from his house. And they don't know what the hell he was doing all them guns. Now, those guns have serial numbers or had been registered once upon a time or so forth. But these guns here are made in home, in the privacy, garages. If you have a certain kind of technology, which is the 3D printers, and you can buy certain parts that, again, they say they sell them online, right? You can buy these things legal online. And again, it depends on the receiver, whether it's 80% lower, if it's 80% under, it's legal, and anything above, you have to get it registered, right? So again, you have to ask yourself, man, this is a pull-up ass nation. Let's just keep that shit 100. It's a pull-up ass nation. Again, haven't I been, for those who watch this show, haven't I been showing you that each state, again, Kentucky is allowing them to have shit. No, you don't even have to have a concealed carry. It's just going to be legal to have a gun. And then, again, the show that I did to talk about constitution carry. You have to find out in your state. Is your state a constitutional carry, right? And they delayed that video. They didn't want that one. It delayed. It was on. It had already been a day. It only had 24 views. And then the next day, it kind of picked up a little bit, right? They don't want you to have that kind of information, knowing about that kind of shit, because again, gun laws are never for us to have guns in our hands anyway. And yet, we the most vulnerable people out here. Now, again, we know we have people in the elements in our communities and things that, again, people do what they do on the illegal side. Well, we're talking about people who are trying to find and do and go with the law. But again, just imagine how many untraceable guns are out here. It's unfathomable because you don't know what people are doing in their homes and what kind of equipment they got. And we don't know all the shit that's going on. So this boldness that we're seeing that people doing, maybe they know something we don't know. So there's some information for you on that right there. You want to find some more, go and do some more research. You might find out some things. And again, this is the most hated show on the black corner of the internet. All right, so now we're talking about guns, right? So, all right, so let's say, for instance, you got that, right? Again, you know, the purpose of a gun is to do what? It's to defend or protect your house, right? I don't know why it's doing that. What's all this about? Hold on. What are you doing? All right, come on. All right. So, okay. So, you know, purpose of a gun, some say for hunting, others say protecting loved ones and family and property, right? So here's a situation that happened, right? And again, you know, it can happen to the best of us, right? But if somebody coming in and announcing saying this, I guess it's all fair game, right? I just wonder if it would be us, would it be the same thing? So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll be right back. Check this out. Hold on. Right back.
A Virginia family fends off a naked intruder claiming to be the devil. The dad grabs his gun and fires off dozens of rounds, but that didn't stop her. Taylor Cunningham spoke to the family about their traumatic experience, and just to warn you, the video is disturbing.
Yeah, this family was under attack last night by a woman claiming to be the devil. She attacked this family, prompting the homeowner to fire 39 rounds.
She was in to kill us. That was her Almighty was to kill us.
A horrific first night for the Lewis family in their brand new home.
She attacked us and I held her down and just kept on punching her as hard as I possibly could.
Once a dream home, it now looks like a war zone. We want to warn you at home, some of this video is graphic. Blood soaked into the carpet, walls and windows riddled with bullets, and shell casings scattered throughout.
I said, "Who are you?" She said, "I need your help, please help me." And I said, "Get out my house." And she said, "I'm the devil."
The homeowner says a naked woman with a blue ponytail broke into the basement around 10:30 last night, laughing and refusing to leave.
She looked like she was possessed. I mean, her eyes were completely black like saucers and laughing like it was a joke.
Fearing for his life, the father of 3 with his sleeping family upstairs grabbed his pistol, gave a verbal warning, and opened fire. He says the woman aggressively charged at him with what he calls superhuman strength.
And she was not stopping. She had the strength of 4 grown men.
When he ran out of bullets, he began throwing furniture. His wife and children jumped in, beating the woman, yet she didn't stop until their 12-year-old son shoved a wrench into her neck. Police arrested the intruder, and she's being treated and evaluated at the hospital. As for the Lewis family, they're left with bruises and bite marks, traumatized.
I'm scared to go to any room by myself. I'm just terrified. You've destroyed our family.
All right, so the devil was in my house, pulled out my pipe. He said he had a pistol. Now, I'm trying to figure out what kind of pistol can get off 39 shots. Right? Sound like he might have one of them type of them ghost guns too, right? Because I don't know no pistol that can get off 39 shots. And to get off 39 shots and you ain't hitting her at all? Yeah, it was supernatural, all right. Again, they didn't even tell you what, they didn't get to know what she was, what her name was. Was she black? Was she white? Right? And after all that went down, all them bullets being shot, right? Family jumping, pounding on her. Oh, little 12-year-old came on there like that little part of Friday the 13th. Die! 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 You know when he was chopping the shit out of Jason and shit? Die! Die! Right? He took the shorty to do it, right? So, again, he was on that K2, got a bad bag or something. But again, said blue hair. I don't know, y'all. He just gave one description. Had some blue hair. I don't know who that could have been. Some of the eyes is black. Oh, all the whole pupils, all that, everything, eyeballs black, right? So I don't know who it was. Maybe they're going to talk about it later on. Maybe we'll get to see who it was. But I couldn't find nothing on it. But again, it is what it is. That's what the story says. Said the devil, like the devil ran up on devils, and you know what I'm saying? got sent back to hell, right? So, not funny and no laughing matter, but the fact is they had to do what they had to do. And again, that's why you have to have protection in your home. Shit like that pop off, you got to be able to protect you and yours, and at all costs, right? So, there it is. So moving on, right? Let me go ahead and get to the meats of the crux of this, right? Let me go ahead and do this. So, did y'all hear this shit that Mitch McConnell said? Mitch McConnell said some shit that it's like, wait a minute, man, hold on. Then you just not too long ago talking about why you saying about you threw a monkey wrench and talking about why, reparations, and that was so long ago, and none of us today had, wait a minute, you done fucked up. You done slipped up, put your foot in your goddamn mouth. Right? Well, what are we talking about, Mr. Blow? Let me show you this and be right back. Hold on.
Senator Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, a powerful Republican from Kentucky, came out against reparations for African Americans who had been enslaved. So we looked into his family background, and it turns out that both of his great-great-grandfathers were slave owners in Limestone County, Alabama. Between the two of them, they owned at least 14 slaves. Reparations means that there's a feeling that African Americans need to be reimbursed for the generations of free labor they provided that helped make this country the economic powerhouse that it was. Mitch McConnell's objection to this whole issue is that it would be hard to figure out who would get the payment, and he went on to say that, well, this is an original sin that the United States has already pretty much dealt with, and as part of the proof, we've had a black president. There have been a number of hearings on the subject, and it's something that some members of Congress have been pushing for decades. It's sort of gained traction recently at a recent hearing, and basically it was in response to what was happening at that hearing that Senator McConnell weighed in. And because he weighed in, we started looking into him. It just occurred to me that, well, if he's got an opinion, maybe there's some mystery behind it. I know he had family in Alabama, so I took a shot and thought, well, maybe they might have been slave owners themselves. I simply typed into Google, how do you find out if your ancestors were slaves or slave owners? And up pops a bunch of genealogical sites, including Ancestry.com. And I went back, 3-4 generations, and I looked for the ancestors that would have been around during the Civil War, and there you have it. I'm not a political reporter, so I really couldn't tell you how this is going to play out politically. And I don't know how this will affect the debate over reparations, but I think he is probably the most prominent Republican to come flat out against it. And I think the supporters for reparations will take notice.
Senator McConnell responded to all of this, likening himself to President Obama on the issue of reparations.
Were you aware that your great-great-grandfathers were slave owners in Alabama before the Civil War, and has that revelation caused you to change your position on reparations?
I find myself once again in the same position as President Obama. We both oppose reparations, and we both are the descendants of slaveholders.
NBC News hasn't independently verified McConnell's claim about the former president's family owning slaves. Although it was reported by The Guardian and The New York Times back in 2007, we've reached out to the former president's office to see if they have a response. We will keep you posted.
All right, so there we go. There go right there for you, don't it, huh? Motherfucker said right out straight playing today. But again, had to be deflective about it, didn't he, huh? It's not just me. Barack Obama, he got him too. And his position about slavery was like, well, he wasn't for reparation. I guess not, motherfuckers. Because y'all ass is living off the money off of it. And you ain't trying to give up shit. Well, just be honest with this shit. Why everybody trying to how is it can the descendants of slaves are still here, but the people who facilitated, created their whole industry and this whole, market, seem like all of them just dissipated. Everybody else just paid it off, just like those who built Egypt and the originals who built it. Now, they ain't nowhere on the damn planet, right? Just crazy how they try to rationalize the shit, right? So anyway, let me go on and get into this. So McConnell likened himself to Obama. We both are descendants of slave owners, right? That's what he said, right? And so, again, he's the Senate Majority Leader. Again, name is Mitch McConnell, right? And this was Tuesday. He confirmed that he's descendant of slaves that you've seen in the video, right? He reiterated that he opposes government reparation for descendants of American slaves. Well, of course you would. You know why? Because that means I got to go in some of your pocket. That means that some of the money that you living up the luxury and the opulent life, that some of that shit need to be transferred. So it's obvious now. It seems like, you know what I'm saying? Anytime you see somebody saying some shit out and opposing to some shit that you know is right, you have to say that your ass got to be kind of guilty or culprit. Man, there's an old saying. They say, I hate you more because you know I done you wrong, right? I hate you more because I know that I've done you wrong. So that's what this whole hatred towards black people is, because we know you done us wrong. You know you done us wrong. And now we're trying to right a wrong, and you trying to come up with every excuse in the book to figure out it was a long time ago. But the people a long time ago, did they not have descendants? Do they not got family? Is any of the stuff that they purchased and bought is still operating to this day? Even though you might have changed the name of the family and all that other stuff, but it's still relevant and prevalent to this day, right? And so we see that at this press conference, it was a closed-door luncheon for the Senate Republicans. And we see that, again, McConnell was asked whether he was aware of the two of his great-grandfathers. Now, he got it on both sides, right? And they was in Alabama before the Civil War, whether the revelation would cause him to consider his reposition on reparation. And he, again, deflective. Well, you know, Barack Obama had to be on his mama's side. And again, are we surprised? How else could you get into the damn office? See, that just lets you know the game. Let me say this again. This lets you know the game of politics, y'all. You cannot be running for presidency, even though they try to make it seem as if like you have your say-so and that you have a choice to pick. It's already picked. It's already a bloodline. It's a family business being handed down from one to another. And then you had a black sheep in the family. We need to put this in here to keep the quiet down, some of the rumbling. You didn't put one of the descendants of the slaves in there. You put a look-alike. One that would resemble the one that could play basketball and sing Al Green and go to a church and say Amazing Grace, right? But he ain't got no affinity, no bloodshed. He ain't cut from the cloth. And now we come to find out, we know why your ass is a damn president now. Because as all presidents, again, I think it's like over 40, 50, 60% of all the presidents were related. Remember they told you he was kin to Cheney, he was kin to Bush, he's kin, you know what I'm saying? So how could he have that and not be in the bloodline? So that was a trick, y'all. They tricked those who fell for that shit. You fell for the okie doke. He was one of them all along. So of course he gonna stick to the script. He ain't down for reparation. You ain't saying nothing we didn't already know, right? And so it's just funny how now that falls out. Now again, why did my man put that out there? Well, again, the truth. The unrevealing. All things are being revealed at this point in time. So you can't keep hiding that shit. And then it's obvious that we in the 400-year commemoration, this being put on the table. You got a motherfucker who is the ascendancy of the shit that we talking about. He don't see why you should be getting it. We understand why you saying that. And we understand why a lot of you are sitting there saying that. Now, there's another element of some people who were the pot liquor of their people, who were the ones, again, we're talking about vagrancies, and them was the ones that came here. But you got a good-ass startup kit. You got a lot of housing. You got a lot of land and acre. You even got a Homestead Act. You even got shit when it came to redlining. You even got position again, what they say, protection of the complexion. You got all that good stuff. So here's the descendancy of all that which we done endured. Saying, hey man, look what's going on here. Look at all the shit going on. You don't feel like you entitled to make some amends for none of this shit? That's how you gonna go out? Then that's how you gonna go out. Right? Y'all carrying that. We not carrying it. We're not carrying it. But y'all carrying that, right? And so let me just show you this, not to dwell on, just wanted you to know that he said that. As I get down to the end of the show, let me show you this here. Again, this, let me see what it said. Let me go and let you hear. Where is it at? All right here. So let me show you this. Right? I don't want the show to be too long, but I'm going to show us anyway. I'm going to show it anyway. So you hear that stuff in the background, that's them all up in my system, right? So I got to hurry and get up out of here before they make it so bad for me. So, okay, check this out. Listen to what he's saying. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to go and show this. And then right behind that, I'm going to show the next thing. And I'm going to talk about that. But just listen to what he says, right? Listen to what he says. And let me get this other one set up too. No, is it that one? It's this one. Okay, it's this one here. Let me take this here. And do this here. Okay, so check this out and be right back. All right. Listen to what this Bert O'Rourke says.
We have Border Patrol cells, cinder block walls, concrete floors, hundreds of children who have been separated from their parents, toddlers as young as 5 months old not wearing diapers, meaning that they're shitting in their pants on the very floor that they will sleep on that night. Other children of no relation to those kids forced to take care of them, no soap or toothpaste or any kind of hygiene provided to those kids who have chicken pox and the flu and are sick, and just imagine the torture that you or your kids would feel strangers in a strange land, incarcerated, having committed no crime whatsoever, except being a human being and doing what any human being would do under the same set of circumstances, knowing not when or if you will ever see your parents again. We have the largest mass incarceration of children in this country's history who have committed no crime since the internment of Japanese and Japanese Americans in World War II. And in this democracy, do not for a second take any comfort that it was the decision of one man, Donald Trump, of one party, the Republican Party, in a country whose democracy is of, by, and for the people. Every day, every minute that this persists, it is on every single one of us. And knowing that full well, the people of El Paso, last week, the hot desert sun showed up by the hundreds to make sure that those kids inside those cells knew that they were in there. And we are not going to stop until they are released, reunited with their families, and treated like the human beings that they are. Are you all with us on this?
I said I wasn't going to say nothing, but I can't let that get by. I can't let it get by, right? So, again, as we just talked about what Mitch McConnell said about reparations and about him being part of the lineage of that who used to own our ancestors, right? Now, it's funny how reparation being on the table and seeing the long history and how black people, not all, because again, there's, you're going to have different variants, because again, we just got to say, some house niggas and then got this living well, doing a lot, kissing ass and all that good shit. And then there's the field niggas who just struggling, maintaining, got a 9 to 5, one day from losing their motherfucking job and everybody falling apart, right? Through the monotonous of all that bullshit, right? So, but yet, here it is. Everybody got so much compassion and so much love and so much, oh my God, the atrocity that's happening. Again, I'm not trying to condone the conditions and what's going on with the immigration and them children and so forth. But I got to take care of my house first. I got to look at my family first, right? But it seems to me that this is like a bait and trick ass shit, right? Like, people want to actually not make you talk about this. Let's talk about everything else, but don't talk about that shit over there. Talk about most incarcerated since the Japanese internment camp. No, what about black men? Huh? What about black men incarcerated in the system? The biggest percentage in the incarceration, the prison industrial complex, right? But we don't talk about that. And we down for that. But there's a trick to this shit, y'all. There's a reason they doing all this. And we ain't going to talk about that on this show. We're going to talk about this time go down. But this is a goddamn trick. You can't sit here and talk about this shit that we sit here talking about and acting that we going to talk about some other people who don't got nothing, who ain't built nothing, who is coming to get, and versus some people who built and allow you to have. Well, guess what's really people might be hiding from. If Mitch McConnell can go and you can go in his background and find out he got 2 in his family, if we start tracing everybody here that consider themselves Americans, now it's not going to be all of them, because a lot of them going to be pot liquor, but the majority of them, they going to have that. And we're going to see where this money and where it's all tied in, and we can understand why they can show a percentage of 90% of white Americans who were against it, 68% of immigrants who went down for it, and found about 30-something% of our people sitting there saying, and we know who those are, right? So it's just funny how everybody got such love and compassion about some other shit, but the shit that's right up in your face, the shit you know it is then, and the cause and effects that then took place, we ain't gonna talk about that shit, because you ain't trying to give up shit, right? Let's just keep it 100. So it is what it is, right? So let me go ahead, because again, it's getting real raggedy over here. So let me go ahead and let me just do this, right? Let me show this, right? Let me see if it can work. I got some stuff going on over here that just don't make no damn sense, right? And again, like I say, I got all kinds of shit going on, even though you would think that it wouldn't be going on. But, you know, I'm the most hated show on the black corner of the internet, right? So it has to do that. It wouldn't be right if it didn't do that. So we'll go ahead and do this. And we should be right back. Check this out. Now, this one here, everybody hit the viral. So check this out. Let's get it going. Check this out.
Now you and your son are being recorded.
Great.
I remember.
Please call your friend on the call box and have them come down.
They don't have to do that. You could just walk away.
I'm going to call the police right now.
Oh, yes. Call the police. Remember that, I remember this exactly happening when I used to live in my own condo, and then people used to call the police all the time.
Sir, I'll hold the door here for you while
That
you
is
call your
okay.
friend.
Nobody's asking you to hold the door. You can do whatever you want. But I'm recording you right now, and you're going to be the next person. Look at this.
You don't need to threaten me. You just need
I'm not threatening you.
You are.
I'm not threatening you.
I'm going to be the next person what?
You're just going to be the next person on TV. Just remember that. And you have your son with you. That's why I asked you if that's your son. It's better. I will delete this.
Yeah, there's a trespasser in my building.
Oh.
Please go.
Listen to your son.
Daddy, go. It's the better. I agree with him, Daddy. It's the better.
At Washington.
Let's go. Please, I don't like this. I don't like
He's
this.
standing in the lobby.
Daddy, I don't like this. Let's go.
He tailgated through the door as I left. He walked in.
Daddy,
I tailgated to the door.
He appears to be African American.
Appears to be African American.
Dad,
I don't know. 30s.
35, software engineer.
Pink polo shirt and a Yankees cap.
All good. All good. Software engineer, brother.
Dad.
Yep.
Pink polo shirt. And tennis shoes, jeans. Yeah. You have to be here for when they call him.
He's filming me and refusing to leave. He's saying I'm going to be the next person on TV.
Yes, sir. You don't remember this? The girl that was like told he's married. Wow. You know that's illegal now, right?
5'10", 0722.
Yeah, that's illegal to call cops on African Americans.
He said he's waiting for a friend, and I asked him to dial on the call box, and he said he would not. So I have no way to know if his friend is actually here.
Yeah, so I'm here to just rob whatever. What, a mailbox?
I'm just asking you for your friend's name.
I don't give a fuck. I don't have to tell you shit.
Can you hear him?
Yeah, he can hear me. I'm pretty sure he can.
No, he's not on. As far as I can tell.
Let's go.
Listen to your son. Walk away. I will stop this.
Yeah.
I'll stop the recording.
I agree.
Yeah,
let's go, Dad. Let's go now. I don't like this.
Yeah.
Sucks, man. Hi, Kathy.
Told you.
I love you, baby.
Go now.
It took you so long to get here.
Daddy, look what you've gotten us into. Let's go.
My friend is handicapped. Just give me 1 second while you be an asshole to in front of your kid. Okay? Remember, I'm recording you. I'm fucking recording you.
Go ahead.
Alright, I'm fucking recording you.
Hey, don't use that language in front of children.
Oh, well, it was your fault for bringing him out here in the first place. I told you that was his son.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's actually here.
Yeah, he's actually here. Yeah, go ahead. I'm recording you.
He refused to identify.
Yeah.
And now he's filming me.
Look at you.
What's he doing?
Look at you.
Stop filming.
Look at you.
Take your phone away from me.
If you touch me, I'll fucking
take your phone. Take your phone away.
Okay.
From me.
No, I'm not doing any of that. Now you're going to be. Now you're now. Now you are online forever.
Yeah, right? Greatest country on the planet, right? Everybody's innocent. Nobody knows why everybody does what they do. I have suspicions, right? You're always the fucking culprit, right? So we see the situation here, a black man and a white man. White man name is Christopher Cukor, right? Christopher Cukor, right? And the brother name is Wesley Michael, right? And this happened on July 4th, 2019, the same day they call Independence Day, right? So Mr. Wesley Michael decided that he was going to post this and to say, you know what, so this is 4th of July, right? This is what you're celebrating the independence of. black man can't be in front of a place of, residence without have to be under some kind of suspicion. He's always a suspicious one. White folks can't be suspicious. Only black folks can be suspicious, right? And so what we see is that it was Tariq Nasheed, brother ADOS. He the one that put out that Christopher Kukos was from YouTube. He is a YouTube employee. Now, Mr. Blows Your Mind needed to hear that. Because, again, that's the most hated show on the black corner of the internet. And I've been saying that my channel can't get in the search engine. They got my channel in the dead end corner. I made the video for those, again, if you're not new, I made the video that's talking about white extinction approaching, and they lost their fucking mind. Yet I didn't say anything about killing you. I just talked about how can procreate and the whole, I'm saying? Nothing about killing you. It irked them so much. It was more the people who worked for YouTube who did everything in their power. First, they put limitations on it. They restricted it. And still after that would mean you had to click on it. They still went into my, well, due to our policies, we have to take. What was in the video, but you can't explain it yet to my, I can still debate or fight about it. No. This is because you got these type of people working behind the scenes. And anything that we talk about that's not in your eyes appropriate, again, this is our truth. This is our reality. That's why I can take a show like this and show you card after card. We're playing spades. I'm trumping you all day long. I'm trumping you. Why? Because not Trump is the president. We're talking about trumping the card of spades, right? It's all day because these things happen on the daily. If you take your side versus our side, we got way more trump cards, right? So we see that Kukar, which again, he's Croatian. Ain't that a bitch? He's Croatian, right? And Kukor means sugar, huh? Sugar, huh? Yeah, sugar, right? And so here it is again, living while black, right? You can't be just minding your own business. I have to give you the P's and Q's of my existence while I'm here. You know everybody in the building? Everybody got to get a permission slip and sign and give it to your ass so that people can come in for your own discretion to make you feel better. Now, again, I'm not against security. I'm not saying that I'm not going to let somebody in the building I don't know. I'm going to let you go through the process. Now, I don't have to, he going to sit there, well, if you go on the speaker and let me hear, well, that ain't your business. Just close the motherfucking door and you could have went on about your business, sit up in your car and call from there. You ain't had to make it all obvious, but no, you felt like you was doing something, right? You felt like, oh, I got me one. We got us one, Joe, right? We got us one, right? So we see, I looked in the Wall Street, I think it was a Wall Street, no, it was a Wall Street, no, Washington Post, right? And it talked about what he said. Now, he went and wrote some article, and Kukor said that he did what came naturally. He asked where he was going. Now, what you mean what you did is natural? You asking somebody where, right? Is that, again, somebody sent me a question, Princess Virtuosity, I think her name was, and she was talking about the situation about those at the pool, the sisters that had the bottle. She said, well, if they didn't have the bottle, then the white dude couldn't have did what he did. But the point is it the white dude's jurisdiction? Is there other protocols and other ways he could have dealt with the situation than trying to do confronting on your own? Where's this thing that people feel like they deputize, that they can step in and then somehow you got some authority that somebody has to answer to you? You go through the proper protocol. You had the non-local number or 911 call, but you don't get no confrontation. Now check this out what he say, right? So he said he wanted to be clear on this point. This is something he do regularly regardless of who or other persons is. Now he said he's a habitual antagonizer of people who he say, I don't know who you is, so I'm going to figure out who you is, right? This is what he said. Now this is his own words saying that, right? That's what he said, right? And then he goes on and says that he said that Michael was a friend of a resident guest in the building after he found out, after he had that yee-ish look at his face. You know how that shit when you get caught up in a goddamn lie. Let me show you the yeesh ass face he had. Let me show you. Hold on. Let me see if I got that in here. Let me see if I got that. Let me, because basically he was just being an asshole, right? Just keep this shit 100. He was an asshole, man, in front of your son, and your son knew. And that's the funny part about it. Your son knew. Look at this yee-ass face. He got caught the fuck up, right? When he see that the person who he was there to see was coming, and he seen, now he had that look on his face. Oh shit. I'm gonna do it in my, hey bro, you fucked up, bro, you fucked up, right? He fucked up, didn't he? Right? So now this gonna be extensive. Now you done went viral, and your son was sitting there telling you he ain't like you. He said, Dad, no man, I believe him. Shorty said, I believe him, Dad. Let's move on. Why? Don't do this. The son, when he gonna grow up, he gonna always throw this in your face. Dad, shit, you fucked this up. Now my name ain't shit. I'm known for that bullshit because of you, and you wouldn't listen to me. But people now holding me accountable because they heard me say, Dad, no. Seems like the son might be mixed himself. You understand? But he ain't got no problem with that. But see, this all melanin, you understand? He got a problem with that. So he put himself out there. So you can't feel sorry for that. But this is what he gonna say. Now again, like Mitch McConnell said, well, I might be a slave descendant owners of Barack Obama too. Well, let's check this out. Now listen to what this Kukor said. He said his actions were by a tragic family history, right? He said something in his family had happened, and this is the reason why he does what he do. Now he goes on to say, well, his father, Peter, right, had got murdered back in 2012. He said by a mentally ill man who was in his father's driveway back in Berkeley, California. His father was killed by the trespasser who he confronted alone. Now, wait a minute. If your daddy got killed for doing the same thing that you feel to be honoring Superman about, and he was by himself, so you might inherit the same curse that happened to your father. And I'm not saying whether it's a curse or not, but I'm just saying the curse of what that transpired. You want to do you want to actually reenact the same shit, but this time you're going to bring your son involved because you don't know who you running up on. We just talked about how everybody got all these guns out here. This is a pull-up ass nation, right? So you put yourself in a confrontational situation, and yet the little one got enough cognizance and understanding to say, Dad, come on, man. Fuck that shit. Leave this bullshit alone. But no, your hatred, your persistence have got to be right. And I want to see this nigga get locked up. Got your ass now viral. Huh? Now you out here looking like that. That's how you looking now. Yeesh. You got caught the fuck up, right? That's how you looking now, right? So he says for his child's safety in the building, that's why he confronted him. Now, you couldn't have been trying to protect your damn child because if shit would have jumped off, your son would have got it. If not, the compassion of the dude not doing nothing to your son, I don't know if your son would have just sat there and watched daddy get mopped up like that. He might have tried to do something, please, knowing him he was going to plead with daddy. Please don't kill my daddy, right? That might have saved your ass, right? But you weren't thinking about the welfare of him because you had him right there. Now, the building could take care of itself. You had a phone. Wherever you was going, you could have made the phone call indiscreetly, anonymously, and still get the same result, and the man would have never even known it was being you. You understand? But now you had to make it plain, clear as day. So he said he felt it was necessary to get help in this situation. Now all of a sudden you need help. Hey, what? You confronting him, but you know you needed help. So now you're going to call what? See? Bullshit. It's just pure bullshit. You know it's bullshit, right? It was pure bullshit. And he goes on to say he's been confronted before and was robbed several times, and this is not uncommon in San Francisco. See? Take responsibility for your shit, man. You jumped out the window, assess the situation. Once you figured out you was wrong, apologize to the man. Like, dude, you know what I'm saying? My bad. I shouldn't have did that shit. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking about. No, you were still holding on. You still trying to hold on, and you still trying to deflate it. You threw your father in it. We don't know whether that's true or not, but we're gonna give you the benefit of the doubt if that did happen with your father. But then you learn a lesson from your father. If your father didn't go out there and just use the telephone, somebody on his driveway, he could have did the same thing and prevented it, and maybe he would still be living. You know what I'm saying? There's certain preventative measures you can do that could just prevent certain situations. Unless it's being, again, the devil up in your house, then everything fair. But in this situation, you don't know. Maybe he was there, dude tied his shoe. Maybe he got sick. Maybe he got bubble guts. He was sitting there trying to keep himself from shitting on himself. There's a whole lot of shit that could have been happening that made dude sit there. And your father went out there. Again, that's what police is for. That's what the 911 is there. That's what the non-emergency number is there for. But everybody feel like this need to go out there and, you know what I'm saying, I got to prove something. I had a friend too. Father did that, broke somebody up, and he ended up getting killed too. Sometimes you don't put yourself in situations that ain't merited. And so you, my friend, became now viral. This is who you gonna be. They're gonna come up with a name with you pretty soon. But the thing is, you work for YouTube. And if you like this on a situation like that, what are you doing at your job when people like Mr. Blows Your Mind shows, the Black MINDZ News, and other shows in this black corner are doing the things they're doing, and our views and subscriberships getting cut, and the hiding in damn corners, and all this stuff that's going down. It's a bunch of you up in here. We know this, but y'all do is hiding behind it. See, we just tell them what the facts is, the TI is, what the truth is, and this was always going to be. So again, thank y'all for watching this show. I'm your host, the Black Mr. Blows Your Mind. This is Black MINDZ News, the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. And to the next show, yo, you know what I'm saying? Stay black, love, peace, and all that good stuff. Until then, man, it is what it is until it is no more. So let me go and do this, and we out of here.
Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything. Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Luther and I and everyone in this arena tonight are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on, and it definitely was not prepared for black people to, in the end, begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What's good news for the sheep might be bad news to the world.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saved 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians. When Irish love Irish, but when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin. They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu, all white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You got to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the sixth version.
5 months before me. 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. They were 5 months before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to You can't make me do anything like Chris!
Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga, and if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
Well, I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true.
I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world He calls it the ugly American or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now, check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? It knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, Brother Greg, you coming by today. And I said, Malcolm, I love you. And I said, I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there. He said, what do you mean, Brother Greg? I said, well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East. And I said, but I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning. And I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary, booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get two of us for the price of one. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you.